welcome Paul Assaiante to campus today. And I wanted to express my personal thanks to Coach Assaiante and to Alex and Sally Lynch for this extraordinary evening that we're about to enjoy, learning from this wonderful and inspirational educator. And I'm very, very excited that Alex Lynch is going to introduce Coach Assaiante to all of us tonight. So,
good evening, ladies and gentlemen, students, faculty, staff, and parents. On behalf of St. Andrews, I want to say how lucky we are to have Coach Paul Assaiante here to talk about his experiences as a coach, father, and mentor. Entering his 17th year at Trinity, head coach Paul Assaiante and the men's squash team are coming off a 12 consecutive perfect season. With the final record of 22-0, the 2009-2010 band brought home an unprecedented 12th straight Potter Trophy in the College Squash Association Team Championships to keep the streak alive. Trinity also captured its 13th straight national dual match championship title and its 4th consecutive New England Small College Athletic Conference championship crown. Coach Assaiante has a remarkable career record of 282-14, which is a 97% winning percentage. Assaiante has guided the men's squash squad to the apex of the sport. Besides coaching squash, Assaiante has coached the men's tennis squad for the 14 of the last 16 seasons, notching a 154-63 record with 8 NCAA appearances, including 5 in the last 7 seasons. From 1999 to 2003 and in 2010, Assaiante coached both the United States squash team, which competed in the Pan American Games, and the U.S. men's team, which played in the World Championships. He was twice named the United States Olympic Committee Coach of the Year. Assaiante was given the United States Squash Rackets Association President's Award in 2003 and 2004 for his lifelong contribution to the sport. He was named one of Connecticut's top sports coaches of the 20th century by the Hartford Courant and recently earned an award from the Hartford Business Bureau for his outstanding contribution to the sport in the city. Assaiante is a 1974 graduate of Springfield College and holds a master's degree from Long Island University. His coaching experience includes stints at the United States Military Academy and Williams College. He was also a squash professional at the Princeton Club of New York and director of racket sports at the Baltimore Country Club, the Appomattox Club in Rye, New York, and the Bellevue Athletic Club in Seattle, Washington. Before being a world-class squash coach and player, he was a gymnast. Assaiante's professional athletic career was nothing short of spectacular. He won the World Hardball Doubles Championship in 1988. He was one half of the U.S. National Doubles Championship duo in 1994 and captured the USSRA 15-over men's squash title in 2004. Assaiante is also an author of Championship Tennis by the Experts, How to Play Championship Tennis, and the upcoming book, Run to the World, Coaching to Overcome Fear with James Sugg. Paul has been a part of my family for years, coaching my mom at the Appomattox Club. Unfortunately, his magic did not rub off. He never won a national championship. But as I talk to my mom about him, she lights up, not because of what she has learned from him on the squash court, but what she has learned off of it. People who know Paul on a personal basis aren't amazed by his titles, wins, or rings. What makes him different is what he teaches people. Resilience, humility, and love are at the core of his soul. As his players say, he is a father figure, someone they look up to. They want to win for him, not for the legacy, but for him. Coach Assaiante, I want to thank you for all that you have done for my family. I think of you as a second father, and thanks for believing in me as an athlete as well as a person. Please welcome Coach Paul Assaiante.
But on an aside, I do want to thank the Lynches for so many years of support and friendship. And friendship is one of those never-ending, unboundaried experiences. Friendship goes forever. True friendship goes forever. So I'm very fortunate that the Lynches are my friend. I'd like to introduce Jim Zug, who is the author of the book Run to the Door. He came in today and played squash with the students. And so, Jim, if you would just wave to the kids. Jim graduated from Dartmouth, and so if you have any questions about Ivy League experiences, I'm sure Jim would be happy to talk to you. I think he was also the beer pong champion of Dartmouth. Speeches are frightening. I don't know if you've had this experience. I hope someday you do. But it's a little bit frightening to be standing up here and looking at this incredibly bright and attractive student body because you don't know me and I don't know you. And I have a half hour to try to do something where I touch you just a little bit. So that when you walk away tonight, you think to yourself, wow, that was pretty cool. Or maybe I learned one thing tonight that was interesting. And so that's the challenge for me, and it is a little frightening. I've done some public speaking recently, and I wanted to share one experience. I recently spoke to a high school in Connecticut, and they asked me to speak to this high school at 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning. And I walked in at 8 a.m., and there were 300 students there, and they were all slumped in their chairs, playing with their cell phones. And I realized there was basically nothing I could do to keep their attention. So, trying to think quickly, I said, okay, gang, this is what I'm going to do. This speech is going to take 30 minutes. And if you will stay awake, every 5 minutes I will take another piece of clothing off. And I moved my jacket. And they all sat up in their chair and I thought, oh my God, he's really going to do this. So about 5 more minutes in, I took off my shoes, and I think they thought there was a chance that they were going to be looking at this pathetic old man who's up there on the stage. So if I see you starting to fade, I do have some pieces of clothing that I can do. What I wanted to talk about tonight are just some principles or some ideas or some concepts that might cause you to stop and think. The first thing I want to talk about is team. Team. This is a team. This is the student body at one of the more prestigious schools in the United States. You are a team. In that team, you're also a family. You may not feel like that now, but 15, 20 years down the road, you're going to be wondering, I wonder where Joe is, and I wonder where Molly is. And this is your family. For a period of time, this was a special time in your lives and a place that you transition to your next chapter. Well, it's the same thing in working with sporting activities. The team is the most important thing. Even if you play in what is considered an individual sport, for instance, I coach tennis and squash. That's considered an individual sport. They are considered individual sports, but they're not. We cannot be successful if we approach that as individuals. We can only be successful if we approach that as a team. You can hit him in the top of the forehead. Good job. I thought you was a broken neck when you fell asleep, so I just thought I'd help you out there. All right, so I now have his attention for the next 28 minutes. But it is a team. It is a team. You live in a world where you are a part of a group. You are not an individual. You are an individual, but you're still a part of the group. And if you can work collectively with each other to accomplish certain goals, and maybe the goal is nothing more than enjoying the journey together, but that is important to remember. You're a part of a team. 2 years ago, we were at the National Squash Championships at Princeton University. And at the 4-hour mark, we were 2 points away from losing the national championship. Princeton was winning 4 matches to 1. Our player was on the court losing 2-love, 2-7, or love 2-7. 2 points away from losing the national championship. We called the team together and we said, we're not going away. We simply will not give in. We will simply not give in. At the 6-hour and 20-minute mark, we tied the score. That's how long we hung in there by our fingertips as a team to prevail. If we did that as a group of individuals, we could not have come back. It wouldn't have meant enough to any one of us to hang in there against those odds. But because we felt such a commitment to each other, there was no way we could give in to that moment. So we won it as a team. Individuals comprising a group of people called a team. And so while you're going around and growing as individuals, remember that the greatest contribution you can make is to the group. And in that group, and on those sporting fields, and off those sporting fields, you'll be more successful. Feel that connection to each other. Feel that kindredness to each other. Even if you're from Newark, New Jersey, or Brookline, Mass. We have boys on our team from Mumbai, India, Lahore, Pakistan, Malmo, Sweden, Bronx, New York. But still, somehow, we're brothers and sisters. And if you can approach this and treat each other with that caring love, this journey for you as an individual will be better. And so the first concept I wanted to talk about tonight was team. The second thing I wanted to talk about is to let you know that everybody shows. Everybody shows. If you're finding you're just scared to death to go into that exam, millions before you and millions after you are going to be scared to death to go into that exam. Everyone shows. How many of you heard of Jimmy Connors? Jimmy Connors was a pretty good tennis player back in the 70s and 80s. And I met him in Longwood, Massachusetts, and I said, Jimmy, I have a question for you. Why is it that in tiebreakers, you're more aggressive than you are in the middle of the set? And he said, I'm not more aggressive. He said, what happens is, I walk on a tennis court and I say to myself, every short ball, I'm going to the net. Every short ball. He said, but in a tiebreaker, my opponent always chokes. And I see more short balls than I get to see at any other time during the match. So I look like I'm more aggressive. Everyone chokes. Everyone gets tight. But the people who are able to manage in this world are the people who are able to deal with that pressure. How many of you have heard of Arthur Ashe? Arthur Ashe is one of the greatest men in history. And Arthur was assigned to West Point during the Vietnam War. And I invited him to come back to West Point years later to talk to the team about how we would deal with the pressure of the Army-Navy match. And he said, everyone chokes, but when you're choking, take deep breaths and move your feet. And that's a metaphorical idea. But when you find that you're frozen with fear, the deer with the bright lights on, take deep breaths and move your feet. Get yourself going, go right at it, and you can be successful. And don't feel badly about yourself that you're gagging out there because everybody should.